All right, last couple of Dave Todd scenarios. Scenario number 6. Dave had a crap upbringing by a really dysfunctional, abusive father who bailed on the picture when Dave was young, and then you got this sort of cliched, sad story of then Dave being raised by a struggling single mom who has this series of live-in creeps that don't treat Dave very well. And so what we have is a product in Dave who is a person who's never known what it's like to feel love. He's only really experienced abuse, physical and emotional. And then one night he gets provoked into an argument with somebody who reminds him of his father, and he falls into this uncontrollable rage and then kills this person, Todd, who reminds him of his dad. So, lots of mitigating factors here. To what degree is Dave responsible, right? And so one response might be, well, look, Dave's childhood sucked, that's for sure, but when he became an adult, he should have addressed that. True, although sometimes people don't know what they don't know, right? So there's times when we don't know something and we're aware we don't know it, right? It's like, I don't know what it feels like to be loved. I know that, so I'm going to go to therapy so that I can figure out what it's like to be loved. But in other situations, somebody may believe they know what it's like to be loved, or be in a functional relationship. They may think they know, but they actually don't know. And so they don't know that they don't know. They think they know, but they don't know. Sort of like Plato's allegory of the cave, right? They think, this guy sitting at the bottom of the cave, they think they know what's up, but they don't know what's up, and they don't know that they don't know what's up. And so Dave's kind of in a situation perhaps like that here, where he doesn't know what he doesn't know. He doesn't know that he doesn't know how to control himself. He only knows how to respond to situations in the ways that he's observed his entire life, which is through abuse. So this isn't to say that we're going to let Dave off the hook here, right? But it is to say that perhaps we take into consideration some of these mitigating factors when we start to assess the morality of Dave's actions. Was he unduly influenced in his actions by his circumstances growing up? And you can probably think of other cases where you've heard of this happening in criminal trials, right? Where the one that comes to my mind is the case of the Menendez brothers back in I think it was the 80s or 90s, who were apparently abused by their parents and then ended up shooting them with shotguns and killing them. And the claim that the defense attorney attempted to make, somewhat successfully, in their criminal trial was, you can't hold them entirely responsible for what they've done, murdering their parents, because they had been sort of conditioned into becoming the kind of people who would do this by their parents, okay? So to what degree we believe that, to what degree we accept that, is probably going to have some impact on the kind of moral responsibility that we assign to Dave in this case. All right, and the last scenario. Dave's having an affair with Todd's wife and wants Todd out of the picture. So he stalks, he plans, and then he shoots and kills him one day as he's leaving the gym. And you're probably thinking like, oh my God, Dave is a dirtbag. And we're probably fairly justified, all things being considered, as long as there's, Dave hasn't been hypnotized, Dave doesn't have some wacky brain tumor that's making him have these thoughts. In this case, Dave appears to have chosen to do a number of things that are pretty dirtbaggy. And so we're probably going to want to heap pretty good quantity of moral scorn on Dave for what he's done, for all the things he's done, right? And what sticks out to us probably here is that unlike these other situations where you've got these mitigating factors that seem to diminish or reduce the amount of control that Dave would have had, all the way from no control with the brain tumor or maybe the PTSD into, you had the ability to control how carelessly you were handling the gun, or you had the ability to get yourself help or not get drunk or whatever. In this case, Dave seems to be totally in control and is creating a set of circumstances that he doesn't have to create that winds up with him killing Todd. And so in this case, we might not have any hesitancy whatsoever to assign moral responsibility for Todd. So as you're reflecting back on all of these different scenarios, try to identify what seems to matter to you, and what situations are you saying, I'm going to hold back a little bit of scoring here on Dave for what he's done because of X. Well, what does X mean? Why is that factor important to you? What does that indicate about your values? Because eventually, towards the end of our course, we're going to look into ethics. And ethics is about what you value. And so as you're thinking about these scenarios here and assessing the quality, the moral responsibility, the ethics of Dave's actions, try to identify the kinds of things that you seem to value and consider when assessing someone's behavior.